Welcome to the CISO Daily Update.
South Carolina's Summerville police claimed by rumored Alphv BlackCat ransomware reboot. The town of Summerville, SC, recently faced a ransomware attack claimed by the Embargo Group. The town reported quick identification and containment to significantly minimize potential damage. However, the Embargo Group claims they stole 1.7 terabytes of data from the local police department. Despite the town's statement that no sensitive data was compromised, Embargo set a deadline of July 30th for ransom payment before publishing the data. Embargo is possibly a rebrand of Alphv BlackCat Group. They use Rust programming and double extortion tactics. The town promises a thorough investigation and system review. Data breach at Rhode Island Wyatt Detention Facility estimated to affect 20,000. A data breach at the Donald W. Wyatt Detention Facility in Rhode Island affected nearly 20,700 people. The breach was initially thought to impact 1,984 individuals, but found to compromise the personal information of 12,890 detainees, 185 vendors, and 7,618 current, former, and prospective staff. Victims were notified 8 months later, and a class action lawsuit has been filed. The facility offers free credit monitoring, but the lawsuit claims this is inadequate given the breach's long-term impact. FBCS data breach impact now reaches 4.2 million people. Debt collection agency Financial Business and Consumer Solutions increased the reported impact of its February data breach to 4.2 million people, up from the initially reported 1.9 million. The breach exposed sensitive personal data, including full names, social security numbers, birth dates, account information, and driver's license numbers. New breach notifications are being sent out advising affected individuals to enroll in free credit monitoring and identity restoration services and to be vigilant against phishing and identity theft. Columbus reports cyber incident as multiple cities recover from ransomware attacks. Columbus, Ohio is recovering from a cyber incident that disrupted city services but spared 911 and payroll systems. This attack follows recent ransomware incidents in Cleveland, Forest Park, and Newcastle. Columbus officials attribute the breach to an employee clicking a malicious link and are working with law enforcement and cybersecurity experts to restore systems. Despite various efforts, some cities are still grappling with service interruptions and threats from ransomware gangs. U.S. indicts alleged North Korean state hacker for ransomware attacks on hospitals. The U.S. indicted North Korean hacker Rim Jong-hyuk for ransomware attacks on U.S. hospitals, defense contractors, and other entities, revealing the extensive use of ransomware to fund North Korea's cyber espionage and military programs. The Justice Department recovered over $600,000 in cryptocurrency from these attacks. The indictment reinforces the persistent threat posed by North Korean cyber activities and the collaboration of international agencies to combat such threats. A bug in Chrome Password Manager caused user credentials to disappear. A bug in Chrome's Password Manager caused user credentials to temporarily disappear for over 18 hours, affecting about 2% of Windows users who had upgraded to Chrome version 127.0.65.33.73. Users reported that only usernames, not passwords, were available for autofill. Although the outage lasted nearly 18 hours, Google confirmed no data loss occurred and quickly deployed a fix. Impacted users were advised to restart their Chrome browser or use a specific command line flag to resolve the issue. Google will complete a full incident report to detail the root cause and ensure future stability. ServiceNow Flaw let remote attackers execute arbitrary code. ServiceNow disclosed 3 critical vulnerabilities: CVE 24-4879, CVE 2024-5217, CVE 2024-5178, that allow unauthenticated remote code execution and unauthorized file access, affecting multiple Now platform versions. Active exploitation attempts by threat actors highlight the severity, with over 42,000 exposed instances and attacks targeting over 6,000 sites, mainly in finance. Adversaries use these flaws to exfiltrate database credentials and conduct reconnaissance. WhatsApp for Windows lets Python PHP scripts execute with no warning. A security flaw in the latest version of WhatsApp for Windows allows Python and PHP scripts to execute without warning when opened by the recipient, posing a significant risk to software developers, researchers, and power users who have Python installed. This issue, similar to a past vulnerability in Telegram, enables attackers to bypass security warnings. Despite blocking several risky file types, WhatsApp does not block Python or PHP scripts. The flaw was reported to Meta, but the company dismissed it, advising users to avoid opening files from unknown senders. Acronis warns of cyber infrastructure default password abused in attacks. Acronis alerted customers to a critical security flaw CVE 2023-45249 in its cyber infrastructure that allows attackers to bypass authentication using default credentials. This vulnerability affects multiple ACI builds and can be exploited for remote code execution on unpatched servers without user interaction. Despite being patched 9 months ago, the flaw remains a threat as it has been actively exploited in attacks. Acronis urges all users to update to the latest build immediately to protect their systems. Users can verify their build number via the Help About dialog and download the latest updates from the Products section after logging into their accounts. Millions of devices vulnerable to PKFail secure boot bypass issue. Millions of Intel and ARM-based devices from multiple vendors are vulnerable to secure boot bypass due to the shared use of a compromised cryptographic platform key from AMI exposed in 2018. This key allows attackers to manipulate secure boot processes to facilitate exploits like UEFI bootkits. To mitigate this, affected vendors must replace the compromised key and issue firmware updates, though implementation may be slow in critical systems. Companies struggle to recover from CrowdStrike's Crippling Falcon update. The CrowdStrike Falcon outage resulted in an estimated $5.4 billion in losses for Fortune 500 companies, with healthcare and banking sectors facing the largest financial impacts. The incident affected around 25% of these companies, and all of the transportation and airline sectors faced critical dependency on cloud services and the systemic risks posed by such disruptions. To mitigate future risks, the report advises cyber insurers and risk assessors to map, manage, and assess cloud-based service provider exposures. Most CISOs feel unprepared for new compliance regulations. With new compliance regulations like the SEC's Cybersecurity disclosure rules in the USA and the EU's Digital Operational Resilience Act, 67% of CISOs feel unprepared and 52% lack sufficient knowledge on reporting cyber attacks to the government. This reflects the evolving role of CISOs, now focused on security strategy and risk mitigation. Despite the importance of cybersecurity, 56% of CISOs are uncomfortable with their incident response strategies, and many struggle to persuade the C-suite of their security initiatives. Additionally, basic security measures like MFA are not widely implemented, and 97% of CISOs see AI as a potential tool to enhance risk management and security efficiency. AI-generated deepfake attacks force companies to reassess cybersecurity. As AI-generated deepfake attacks rise, companies are developing response plans, with 73% of U.S. respondents reporting their organization has one, according to GetApp. These attacks challenge the reliability of biometric authentication, leading companies to run simulations and enhance awareness to prepare their workforce. Despite increased cybersecurity investments over the past 18 months, concerns about AI-driven fraud persist. To counter these threats, companies are prioritizing network security, software updates, strong password policies, and data encryption. While biometric authentication remains crucial, it must be combined with other measures like MFA to effectively combat these sophisticated cyber threats. 16% of organizations experience disruptions due to insufficient AI maturity. According to Action 1, 16% of organizations experience disruptions due to insufficient AI maturity, with sysadmins facing significant education gaps and cautious adoption strategies. While AI potential is recognized, 60% of sysadmins lack practical AI knowledge and 72% need training. The focus areas for AI in the next 2 years include log analysis, server monitoring, and patch management, but AI implementation has resulted in mixed outcomes and critical disruptions. To address these challenges, organizations must invest in AI literacy and training programs, balance AI with human expertise, and introduce AI in low-risk areas while tracking its performance.
Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe to our newsletter at CISOheadlines.com. Until next time, stay curious.